saying this thing is ready to go. It's, and this is a deck we talked about.
Father.
What?
We're not filming.
Here we are.
Oh.
I already hit record. That'll be great for the blooper reel, buddy. It's great content.
You're fired.
He's free, so I mean. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Parking Lot Finds, the show where we find those cars that you've always wanted to know about. Those cars like this that you see in your parking lot. You're like, man, who owns it? What's their story? And today we've got a special one for the first episode with our friends from Greasy Corner Garage. They're going to explain to you how a car like this ends up like this. Stay tuned, guys, because this is going to be an awesome one. All right, guys, I'm here with my friend Tim from Greasy Corner Garage, and he's going to explain a lot about this car, especially for those of you guys that don't know, both these cars are Fox bodies, except for they're a lot better looking. All right, Tim, so tell me a little bit about this build. What inspired you to build a drag car out of this?
Well, it's not just a drag car, it's a street car too.
Yeah,
so.
that's why I meant street car. Sorry, guys, I know the viewers are going to hate me, but look, we're all learning together. That's the fun part about this.
It's a street strip car.
Yeah.
Now they call them something different. I think they call them drag and drives now.
Yeah.
Even if you don't do drag and drives.
Yeah.
But looking for something that make a neat street hot rod. Something pretty radical, you know. There's a lot of choices out there. I'm a Ford guy. You know, the Fox body platform is a really good platform. It's very
possibilities.
It's very proven in all kind of performance applications, all types of racing. But it couldn't just be another Mustang.
Yeah, there's no offense to the Mustang owners. We love you, but there's a lot out there. So
had to be something different, you know. And there's quite a few choices a lot of people don't know about on the Fox platform. And a lot of people might think there's some better choices than this, and there probably is some, like the Aero Thunderbirds and stuff and everything. But the Fairmont and the Zephyrs had quite a history in drag racing from the 70s.
Yeah.
With the pro stock cars, the factory pro stock cars, especially Bob Glidden, you know. I think he won every race in '79 and won the championship. You know, Chevy guys are still talking about that. So yeah, and ran across this. It was the perfect car. It was kind of an abandoned car, but it was in really good shape. Had low miles on it, and all. And it was. Some people say it was too good of a car to chop up and do this to it and all, but
that's what you need to start off.
But I don't think
like this.
Yes, but I don't think a perfectly restored Fairmont or Zephyr is like hot on anybody's list.
There's not a lot of people going to Barrett Jackson to buy a Zephyr or Fairmont, but they're one of those Challengers or older Mustangs. But
so there had to be something more unique about it than it being a nice Fairmont or Zephyr and everything, and that's where all the extreme modifications come in.
All right, let's talk about the thing everybody's going to know about. Let's talk about the motor.
It's a big block Ford. It rarely gets identified as that, mainly just because it's got coil packs on the valve covers.
Yeah,
everybody thinks it's a modern motor. You know, like even if they stick
a Coyote or
Coyote. But yeah. But yeah, it's a big block Ford based on the 429 460.
Oh, nice.
But it's an aftermarket block. It's 547 cubic inch. It's got the Kazi design Ford racing heads on it. Holley EFI.
Makes it a little more streetable.
Holley EFI, the big improvement. Originally this car had a naturally aspirated big block in it and all, and it's just like so much nicer with the EFI.
Plus you got to worry about.
Yep. And Holley EFI. It's got a small Procharger supercharger on it, centrifugal supercharger. It's actually small for the cubic inches. You know, it's an F1A94. A lot of people think that's small for the cubic inches, and actually I think the supercharger was designed for something like around in the 400 cubic inch range, but it's one of their most efficient blowers, and
nice.
So it even works really well with larger cubic inches. And the thing I like about it the most is that because of it being larger cubic inches, the thing doesn't start making boost right off the bottom. It has to. You have to get it up in the RPMs before you start seeing any boost.
So it almost acts like a turbo, so it's waiting and waiting.
Exactly like a turbo.
That's awesome.
Because everybody said, yeah, thing's going to be impossible on the street because every time you get into the throttle, it's going to be making boosts and it's just going to be uncontrollable. But with this small blower and the big cubic inches, you've got to get it up in the RPM range before it starts making any boost.
Yeah.
And so it's just almost like
There's-
you know, even some guys will go to the point to where they're putting wastegates on them and everything, and Pro Charger they don't recommend that because they said it puts pressure on the Pro Charger and really hurts the life of the Pro Charger. It's making around 20 pounds of boost. That's at 6,800 RPMs. That's about as far as I want to turn it. You know, originally I was saying maximum about 65, but on the dyno we went a little bit further. We went to 68, and it seemed to like really be happy there and everything. And so it's 6,800 RPMs, making right at 20 pounds of boost, and that's right around 1,300 horsepower, and it was still liking timing, so it's still not seeing it's still not seeing that.
It's got more to give.
It's got more to give for sure, you know, because we were pretty conservative on the timing there.
Yeah.
You know, and then it's not intercooled, and a lot of people are surprised at that it's not intercooled. I never
noticed that till now, and I've seen this car several times.
Yeah, it's not intercooled, and everybody said like, "There's no way." To control those inlet air temps and everything, but it's got two methanol nozzles on it.
Okay.
Each one of those are 1,000 cc's, and
so that helps cool it down when it needs to.
And that's the intercooler.
Oh.
So
it actually makes a cleaner engine bay without all the extra intercooler and everything.
Yeah, well, that's the other thing about putting an intercooler in here is packaging it.
Yeah.
You know, it's enough to package.
Yeah, because you got to start taking more out when you start putting the intercoolers in.
Yeah. The only way I could have done it and everything, I had to cut the front end off the car and make it a tubular front end, and I didn't want to go that far.
Yeah.
You know, I still want to kind of look like an original car.
Yeah, it did. Now you did all this underneath here. You did all this work, right?
Yeah.
And you guys cannot appreciate this on video. I've been to Cars and Coffee with you guys a couple times. People just, as soon as you pop the hood, people flock to it because you could eat off the engine bay of this thing. It is so good.
Yeah, well, that's not the thing that brings them there when you pull in.
No, it's the sound,
it's
and they're
sound.
like, "What is that like?"
It's all about the sound.
So I've been there where there's other cars, and people are just like, "What is it? I gotta find it."
If it came in and it wasn't, and it didn't get their attention by the sound and everything.
Yeah,
they might eventually get there, but you wouldn't just pull in and immediately have a mob of people around it wanting to see what's under there and everything. Yeah, so it's all about the sound, you know. That's why it's got a 800 lift camshaft in it.
Like most of this car, it is all one-off that you built yourself.
A lot of it, yeah.
Now this hood is amazing.
Yeah, the hood is composite, and the bumpers are composite, and the deck lid is composite. So not parts that are typically available.
So you can't just go on Amazon or Summit and just pick this up. This is all you made this.
Yeah, there's a few people out there because they raced these cars back in the 70s and everything. There's a few people out there that's got some molds for some of this stuff and everything, but you have to search pretty hard to find some of it, you know. But, typically, you have to, like everything, you have to make it yourself.
Yeah, you got to put in the work. I love how the hood looks. It bulges up and everything's sticking out, and you got the vents in there to help it breathe a little bit.
Originally, this thing was naturally aspirated and had a carburetor on it, and carburetor was through the hood pretty far, and it had a Boss 429 scoop on with it, which is a large front opening. You know, and I wanted to get rid of that. I wanted to have a flat hood, but there was no way.
You know.
So but this is pretty low compared to the way it was before. I wanted. So I knew I was going to have to add something here to clear that, and so I added this Eleanor. I have to explain what an Eleanor is to a lot of people. If you're a Ford guy, you know what an Eleanor is.
The Shelby
it's
GT500.
It's not a Chevy cow hood.
No, so it's a Shelby GT500 cow, essentially.
Actually,
or is it from the Eleanor kit?
Actually, it's unique to the Eleanor.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, because I made the mistake once calling a guy's GT500 an Eleanor.
Oh, that'll make him mad.
And it has a different hood on it that has front openings across here. And I didn't realize that it had those instead of this. And you don't make that mistake. But it's Eleanor. So it almost I could have gone to an oversized Eleanor and covered, but I wanted to keep it kind of original. The height of the Eleanor. I think if you had to start adding and increasing the height of everything, it would start to look kind of odd.
Yeah, because it's crazy because it almost looks perfect back here the way you faded it in.
Yeah, and these are a 2013 Mustang GT. This came out on those cars because they had under hood temp problems and everything, and had to get rid of some hot air, and they added these, and so This is from a 2013, maybe 2 years for that, 2013, 2014, any GT Mustang.
So this spoiler on the back, you handmade this one too?
Yeah. Like I said, it's got a composite deck lid. I did a lot of stiffening of the deck lid, putting honeycomb under it and glassing it in, and so it could support this deck lid or support the spoiler. Typically on these cars, on a drag car or a street strip car or drag car especially, you would have a flat wing that extends back, and then have a little bit of a wicker bill or a gurney flat on it. But on one of the main differences between a Fox body Mustang and the Fairmonts and the Zephyrs is pretty much the rest of the car's all the same except back here. This is about 15 inches longer back here than a Mustang.
So you don't need those longer spoilers. It's already naturally in there.
It's naturally, so you don't. So where a Mustang ends right here. I had an engineer help me a little bit would give me some ideas about angle here and also it's not but 2.5 inches tall. It's laid back pretty far. I think it's probably about 50 degrees, and all it's there for is just clean up the air leaving the back of the car. Bumpers, like I said, composite. They don't weigh, but I don't think they weigh but about 4 or 5 pounds.
Oh wow. And you got a chute for this too.
And it has a parachute mount. It actually has a bumper bar, sort of something like a bumper bar underneath and everything that the parachute mount attaches directly into the frame rails.
Wow.
The chute mount just plugs in there, has a bolt in it, and the chute's like hanging right here. The release handle's in there, the cable's coiled up in the trunk. It just comes through here and attaches there. So, all of this was just fabricated out of 40 thousandths aluminum. The brackets and I made it in 2 pieces and just ticked it together in the center, and you can see where it's ticked there.
Nice.
Everybody, I've had a lot of people ask about it, about where did you buy it? And they say they'd like to have one like that.
It really does set the car off. It looks so good on here.
But it needs something, because it's probably, be up. It'll definitely be over the 150 mile an hour mark. Probably 160, maybe 165, something like that. So it definitely needs some back here to kind of clean it up a little bit. it's been 140 and stuff and all, and it definitely needed something to
Help with that a little bit.
help stabilize a little bit up there.
All right, so tell us a little bit about some of the features in here that you were talking about kind of in the back. Obviously got some Motion Raceworks goodies in there, so that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I've got I just got that Motion Raceworks a parachute release. I've got a couple other of their sensors, the Rife sensors on the engine, but and they've got some other things that I've got on my list with them, so I've not got yet.
They're always coming out with something new that's like,
Oh, yeah.
I didn't know I needed it, but now I have to have it.
That's something I think about. You start a company and everything to sell stuff to drag racers and everything, and I thought that somebody out there made everything, but they proved that was wrong.
Yeah.
You know, 'cause they've got a lot of different stuff that people want.
Yeah.
Sure.
So what shifter is that? What?
Precision Products.
Okay.
You know, it's a drag race shifter. It's kind of real basic. You know, you can see all of the mechanism. It's all right here. You know, if anything happens to it, you know, it's easily fixed, easily repaired. Or like, you know, it's not going to strand you.
Yeah.
For drag race and everything, these things right here are they're the one. And then Motion Raceworks makes a shifter that is kind of on the same design and everything. Yeah. That's a nice piece also. About everything, about the only thing I saved in here from the original interior on this car was the dash shell and the dash pad.
Oh, nice.
And everything else is gone. I made the carbon panels. These gauges are Speed Hut. They're all custom made. Company, you can order them any way you want. You can design your bezel. You can do anything on the face, any color. You can have your picture of your face on them if you want to.
Oh, that's awesome.
They're not bad pricing wise. They're not bad. They're competitive with stuff that you just buy off the shelf.
Oh, nice.
So all custom gauges. I like gauges. Typically a car like this has got a big Holly dash in it.
Yeah.
I do have a little Holly 3.5 to my EFI.
I like the look of the gauges though, especially for this era of a car. It fits with it.
You know, like I said, sometimes I wish I had like a 12-inch Holly dash, and for what I spent on these, I could easily bought one.
Yeah.
And they're pretty neat, but I just like the look of gauges.
I'm there with you. I like analog things. They have a certain look to them, and the way they react, I like it better than the digital stuff.
Where I just little 3.5, it does everything I need to do there. And I can even do some tuning here without having to hook up with the laptop.
Oh, nice.
So you know,
Holly does make everything easy for people. They know what they're doing.
Oh yeah, and even switches. I used to have toggle switches in here. Everybody said it looked like a NASCAR. I didn't want it to look like a NASCAR.
Well, I mean, it makes sense with your background. Yeah. With you used to working for Hendrick.
I used to, and it had a big switch panel right here with all toggle switches on it. And everybody said, "Oh, you can tell where you work." But when I redid everything, that was one of the things I wanted to get rid of. I want to get rid of the toggle switches. So, a company in South Carolina, they custom make these switches. They're made for boats, rocker switches, and they're like a 50 or 60 amp switch.
Yeah.
And they'll custom make them. You can put anything on the front of them you can want. They're laser engraved.
Oh, so they're not going to rub off.
They're backlit, so when you cut the lights on, it shines through, and they're really good quality switches. And so all of the rocker switches, there's 2 up here, and then this line of switches here, and then I've got 2 here too. I ran out of space. I had to make this little console switch panel, and I got my engine start switch up here.
And you gotta have a place to charge your phone, so that's
and my charger hook up here for the phone or whatever. And then it turned out to be a really good place to connect the fire system cable to activate the fire system, and a place for the parachute release.
So that's your fire suppression system then?
This is fire suppression. The bottle's right behind me.
I was wondering if that wasn't like that's the...
There's the bottle's right behind me. And here there's a 3-way nozzle right here.
Okay.
That'll get me all the way from my feet to my face, and then there's another nozzle under the hood. Cobra seats, they're made in UK. The straw belts is what we used to use at Hendrick in our Cup cars, and they're made in Germany. And I always wanted to use them, but they were out of my price range.
Yeah.
But I found a race team that was going out of business, and they had some, and I bought these at a discount. And the rest of it is pretty bare bones. There's a couple classes that I would like to run in and everything, and they say that the car has to have an interior in it, you know, and it does have interior. It's got seats, it's got a dash, it's got dash pad, and they say it has to have door panels. It does have a door panel. The door panel is not in the typical location. It's inside the door against the outer skin, but it is a door panel. And the only thing I don't have is they say it has to have carpet in it and everything. I don't have full carpet. I got mats that were custom made in an upholstery shop, and they're mainly for heat, because you know there's no insulation in the car.
So it gets warm.
Yeah, it gets warm. We rode 60 miles in it the other day, and it was pretty warm, and it wasn't bad. You know, that's with the windows out. These doors don't have window regulators in them and everything, but they do have glass windows, and the glass is either up or out. So windows are out of it now, but I have bags that I carry the windows in, and you can just take the window out of the bag, and it just sticks up into the window frame. It has a seat belt that comes over and latches that holds it in place.
Yeah.
That comes from mid-60 Chrysler factory drag cars. That's where I got this from. I think it was a 65 Barracuda
nice.
Factory drag car. They gutted the doors, but they still had glass in them, and it was in there with a seat belt that held it in, so it would either be in for racing and then out if you were just driving the car. Got a 850 cage in it. It's got about 14 points. It's tied directly into it's got 2 or 3 frame rails. Cage is tied directly into 2 or 3 frame rails. All the bars in the back and everything are tied directly to the suspension points. Even it makes it really stiff.
Yeah.
Car is like really stiff for this particular kind of cage setup.
All right, guys. I just want to say thank you for taking the time out of your day to spend with us and talk about your cars. Greatly appreciate it. So, thank you, Tim. Love your car.
Thanks.
And thank you, Matthew.
Thank you, Eddie.
Yeah.
Really appreciate it. Thank you, Little E. Doing all
Now,
the footage.
How can they find you guys? If they want to learn more about what you guys are doing, Matt, how do they find you?
So on Greasy Corner Garage NC, we have a YouTube channel, we have Facebook, we have Instagram, and they're all the exact same name, Greasy Corner Garage NC.
You guys, obviously, you want to follow them because they've got this, and you guys are getting ready to work on this one too.
Yeah, absolutely. We got a 347 cubic inch small block Ford. We've been working on for a pretty good while, putting together some really good pieces, and it's all about to come together. So we're going to try to debut it at Foxtoberfest this year.
So you guys want to stay tuned to their YouTube channel because that's going to be pretty exciting. And the funny thing is, how this whole video got together is we go to church together, and like 2 years ago, I kept seeing this car in the parking lot, and I'm like, I don't know who this guy is, but we're going to become friends. And sure enough, here we are like 2 years later, friends.
Here we are.
Doing this. So thank you guys again.
And thank you for coming out.
Yeah. Hey guys, this video is meant to inspire you, not to discourage you. Just know that work with what you got. Find the project on Marketplace, get out there, put in the work, and eventually it could turn into this. It's a process.
Trust the process.
Trust the process, because it can be very frustrating, but get out there and enjoy the car while you're building it. Go to your local car meets, your local Cars and Coffee, meet people. That's how you get these connections, so you can learn how to build these things. I have no clue. That's why I have them, because they're going to help you with stuff.
Absolutely.
So, till next time, guys, happy hunting.
Bye.